This is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black business and related news, strategy, and events.
Welcome to this edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham. I am so excited as always to be able to share with you all. Today we are interviewing Dr. Natalie Halloran, who is an educational leadership guru. She is a business owner, a Maxwell certified leadership professional. And I'm excited about the conversation because I just think it is always relevant, the work that you do.
Thank you.
And the contributions that you are making in this community. So if you don't mind, Dr. Halloran, let's jump right in.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Would you like to start by just sharing a little bit about yourself? Maybe give us something beyond the resume, beyond the CV, beyond what we might see on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Dr. Natalie Halloran. I'm excited to be the CEO and founder of Hill Hall Enterprise. We are here to support educational and business leaders and organizations and helping to build their capacity to grow, because we know when they grow, their team and their leaders grow. I have 34 years of educational experience, starting from a teacher to a school administrator. And I just recently served as a chief of human resources, and I love connecting with people and making an impact.
Love that. Okay. So what's something that we might not find out by looking at your resume? Something you like to do for fun, something that you do on the weekends? Give us just one thing.
I like to roller skate, especially roller skating backwards. I go to the skating ring at least once every other month or so and just get it in.
Really?
Absolutely. Great workout. And I just love to skate.
We're going to hop back on that. My children and I were just talking about roller skating backwards last week, and it's not something I've learned how to do, but I do believe in a healthy balance. We have to be whole people. And so I'm happy to hear you have something to do that you enjoy. Tell us a little bit about your journey into educational leadership, and how have those experiences shaped the work that you do today? You mentioned, you've done the teaching, you've done the administration, you've done the human resources. How did you get into that? Did you begin with the end in mind, so to speak? What is that journey? What has that been for you?
Thank you. Great question. And I love answering this because from the time I was growing up, I was always told you're a leader, people follow you. I'm the second oldest of 6 girls in a family, no brothers.
Second oldest, okay.
So I've always known that I was a leader, and I knew by getting into education, I could impact the lives of children, but did not know until I was teaching for a couple of years that I also impacted the lives of my colleagues as well as parents and families. So that's when administration struck a light nerve. And then I went to the University of Virginia and received my certification in administration and supervision. And from there, I always want to say the rest is history. I was a school administrator. I was then a central office administrator and managed about 30 million in grants, as well as supporting with school improvement and building the capacity of leaders. And then the Department of Education came knocking on my door, and I worked at the state level in Richmond for about 5 to 6 years, supporting school teams, leaders, and school boards with school improvement efforts and managing money and funding. And then after a while, I said, I'm doing a lot of compliance, and I want to be part of the work and the full solution.
Okay.
So that's when I transitioned back into the schools and became an assistant superintendent of human resources and federal programs. And then my latest public sector role before shifting into this private work was chief of human resources, where I was able to impact not only the lives of the school administration team, but address the mental health wellness, which is a big part of the work that I do too with school teams and organizations, because we know mental health is something that's really pressing at this time and need to be addressed in organizations.
Absolutely. So, I like hearing the piece about the childhood, because I do believe, we come here with certain inherent strengths and abilities. And over time, we refine those, and we get greater clarity about what it really means to be a leader, or what it really means to be an encourager, or whatever it is that our gifting is. So that's something to think about. What are those things that are our natural inclination, and how are we leveraging those particular strengths? So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So Till Hall Enterprise has a focus on business and educational consulting. So how do you see those two worlds intersecting, um, just in the work that you're doing every day?
Well, it intersects because it says educational and business, because
Yeah.
everything that I do, I look as far as being educating, leading, growing, and building capacity.
Okay.
So whether it's with an educational institution or a business or organization, when the leaders are better and you help them grow and build their capacity, then you maximize the growth of organizations and those that they support, as well as I'm an individual coach. So I do
Okay.
provide life coaching support. I have a couple of clients and those that I support and just trying to figure out where they are now, where they want to go next.
Sure.
Some are independent workers and some are still employed. So just helping them to navigate those waters. So it kind of intersects.
Given your experience in both state and local educational roles, what is a common misconception that people have about creating equitable opportunities in education? And I think that's a particularly poignant question given all that we're experiencing today. What did you see from where you sit or where you sat?
From where I sat and where I currently sit and provide support is when you look at providing that equity and support, it's all about, regardless of the level or what work you perform, ensuring that those who you can impact have the resources and support needed to be successful.
Yeah.
You know,
At the end of the day, right?
Right. Just like individuals, when you have staff, like I was at last the chief of human resources, just like you have staff and employees who are at different levels. They don't all need the same professional development, the same coaching, the same support. It's the same with providing resources, whether you're supporting parents in the community, which is a big proponent of thing that I like to support. You must educate and support parents as well as students and businesses, organizations, as high as a CEO. CEOs need support and coaching and training.
Absolutely.
We all do.
And no two CEOs are alike, right?
Absolutely.
So a custom solution
Absolutely
is an equitable solution.
That's right.
Right.
Providing that support, whatever's needed, so that that individual organization can be successful, because it's all different, not the same.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, in theory and in practice, but it's not as common as, it should be.
Right. Because at some point, well, not at some point, we all know that everyone doesn't always have the best interests of the audience or those that they can make an impact for. Sometimes it's all about themselves and doing what's comfortable or what's easy. But you have to look at where's the support needed, because what they fail to realize is that you think you're doing what's easy and what's best if you just provide everybody the same support, the same resources. But really, if you provide the support and resources at the level that's needed, then everything will grow and flourish.
Yes.
And will succeed beyond our wildest dreams and expectations.
Yes.
Because you're meeting them where they are.
And it's a bit more work, It's challenging, but it's worth it. I have a background in special education, and we had a huge focus on differentiating instruction, right? And it created additional work. We were already overworked. It was a lot. The case management, the instruction, the means of the parent, it was a lot. But then, okay, now we have to think about how do we frame this so that the actual student, every single one of them, can have benefit. And nothing was more rewarding than knowing we had done that at the end of the day, right?
You provided the resources and met them where they were.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I used to love to attend those types of trainings. I would kind of come alive.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Black Wall Street Today podcast, obviously it's about entrepreneurship, and specifically highlighting Black entrepreneurship. There's also a misconception that, we don't do great work, that we are looking to dispel by means of, hosting this podcast. And so in your work with leadership development and strategic planning, what are some unique challenges and opportunities you've observed for Black business owners, would you say?
I think the self-doubt, not thinking they can do it, not thinking that the opportunities are not there for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's sharing your vision too much with others who will hold you down. Sometimes, as I say, you have to hold a little or hold some. And then another thing that I always say, even to my children, your actions speak louder than words. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-doubt is is a real thing. I think about that. I think about where it originates, within us. You and I were having a conversation just a moment ago.
Right.
We've likely heard some things that are, discouraging to us, and don't forget, what it means to be Black living in this environment. It can create a level of doubt. So, what's your strategy for kind of staying ahead of that mentally? What's your practice that kind of helps you to kind of like have the right thoughts in mind for yourself?
I have like a journal
Mm-hmm.
and I write down almost every day different affirmations, or I'll wake up and say, "This is your day. You got it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Get up." Stay connected while I'm out. I'm networking.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure I'm in areas, as I'll say, where some say we should not be.
Yes.
Make those connections and let it be known that you're just as valuable and can provide just as much of a support and a resource to someone else. Because there's always someone that needs wherever you were before you rose to where you are now. So I
Absolutely.
just make sure that I do that and just surround myself with positive people and like-minded people. Because that's
Yeah.
very important. You have to network with those who are like-minded and have your best interests. And as they always say, speak your name when you're not even in the room. They're cheerleading a champion for you and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's as you mentioned, it's a daily activity.
Absolutely.
We can't affirm ourselves today and feel like 10 years from now, we're still going to be affirmed. We have to do it every day.
That's
We got to
right.
do that journaling. We have to have that time. And cultivate that discipline of affirming ourselves, and also, you know, pruning, as you mentioned. I think about that environment that we have to cultivate in terms of the people that are around us. Not
Absolutely.
everybody gets to stay.
That's right.
Not everybody gets to stay.
A moment, a season, and a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's something I just remember from even when I was in high school. My father used to say that some people are in your life for a moment, some for a season, and some for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And as we all look back and reflect as we grow and go, even I look as though when I was a teacher from when my last stint as a chief, and even now, there are a lot of people who are still not there. They were that moment, they were that season. But then I do have a few that are, and a handful that are that lifetime.
That's awesome.
And I'm hoping now that I'm connecting with organizations and people in this business sector,
Yeah.
as
that you will
an
make even more.
entrepreneur, that's going to be that lifetime connection. And I do feel it.
And we attract individuals too,
Absolutely.
by means of our own energy that we put out into the world,
Yes.
that does tend to come back to us. So you have a focus on collaborative problem solving as well, right?
Absolutely.
So can you give an example of a successful collaboration that you facilitated that led to significant positive change for a community or an organization?
Okay. I will say with my last role, I would say of Chief of Human Resources. When you come into any organization and being new and things being done a certain way,
Yes.
I think how I made the biggest impact and saw change was I led the way and I walked the talk. I wasn't a chief or a leader who just said, "I need you to do this, just do that." I actually rolled up my sleeves, provided examples, provided support and guidance to ensure that what my expectations were and my expectations of the organization were met.
Yes.
So being supportive, allowing them to grow and have opportunities, from everyone from the receptionist, office manager, to the directors, to the specialists, addressing the needs of the individuals and be an example of support. Because I think that's where a lot of leaders I kind of have experienced coming up as well as now. Oftentimes they feel as though because they're at that level that they can't provide that support and that work and guidance.
It's
But
absolutely essential though.
but we all need to grow and need that capacity built. And I think I would say that's one of my biggest things. And I think that's kind of my signature style as a leader from my various positions as I've transitioned into executive leadership, is just being that support piece and
Yeah.
providing an example of, and being that model
Right.
of an expectation of what's expected.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that. So the coach still needs to be coached.
Absolutely.
So what's your where I know you are a student of the Maxwell strategy. Talk about that. At what point in your career did you just kind of say, if I'm going to be doing this work, I'm also going to need to do kind of this work for me. Like talk about that realization and what it is that you benefit from in terms of that alignment.
Oh, it's awesome. Like next week, we have our huge IMC in Orlando where twice a year we get together. Again, I'm certified as a speaker, trainer, coach in leadership. And throughout the years, John Maxwell is a name that we've heard as a guru in leadership and everything.
Yes,
So
for decades.
So when I decided to make this transition from public to private sector, I said, let me dig a little deeper. I love Maxwell principles on leadership and coaching. I'm part of the mentorship program.
Okay.
So every week we have a call in with Valerie Burton. If you're familiar with Valerie Burton,
yes.
she leads the coaching piece. Rod Gotti does the speaker connection of mentorship.
Okay.
And then we have Chris Robinson who does the support with the other piece. So there's a team there that every week, if you're available, you can dial in. They provide best practices, resources, and support, guidance, how to utilize some of the strategies and resources that they taught us that are available. And then I'm looking forward to being at the international conference in Orlando next week, just to connect with other leaders and other entrepreneurs and coaches as part of the team. And as we talked about, surrounding yourself with those like-minded individuals.
Right.
So now I get to now be face to face again with some of those there's some from Ghana, other countries, and all across the US, just finally face to face connecting with some of those professional connections I've made. But that mentorship piece, when you're part of mentorship, you have weekly contact and connection with others as well as the leaders with John Maxwell's team, and they will coach you. You have a question or concern or need support in a certain area, they will guide you right through it. So having that support as I become part of that team has been awesome and very impactful with my practice and supporting others.
It's beautiful. Oftentimes, what I heard you say was once you went private, when you knew you were going down the path of entrepreneurship, you pursued some additional resources for yourself.
Absolutely.
That may not be as common, as we might think. Oftentimes when folks start businesses, they want to go it alone. The reason that they started the business is they thought they had the idea and they were going to be able to do it by themselves.
Right.
Not so.
Right. And again, that's why
yourself out.
And this is the first time I'm really talking about it explicitly being part of it. Because like we know, there's a price that you pay to be part of and to support and grow as a professional.
Yes.
And you have those right away. When I just mentioned it to one person before I joined, and the first thing they said was, how much does that cost? And I said, well, if I'm building my capacity and growing and I'm passionate about the work and see the impact, then
it's an investment that you're willing to make.
So that's when we talked about earlier, how you can't tell everybody everything.
Right.
But
they don't have the vision that you have.
Absolutely.
And the work that you're going to do.
Right. And I'm glad to have connected with Black Brands. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much.
It's been so impactful already, just connecting with others.
It only worked because you see the value in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I appreciate that. If you've just tuned in, this is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today. I am talking with Dr. Natalie Halloran and just a conversation about all things leadership and educational consulting and her background and entrepreneurship. So just delighted again to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the expertise that you bring and your willingness to be transparent about, what it means to kind of go down the path of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
It can be lonely, but you've already figured out I'm not doing it like that.
Right. It's all about powerful connections and surrounding yourself with the right people and resources. That's the number one.
And making that investment,
you have to.
We have to work in our businesses and we have to work on our businesses. We have to do both of those things. And I see what you're doing. That's the working on the business,
Yes.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Thank you.
So in terms of leadership, what's one piece of advice that you often give to emerging leaders who are striving to make a systemic impact? Could be in or outside of the Black community.
Making an impact. Uh, Make sure you take time for your people.
Mm,
Invest in your people. And if you're a solopreneur, invest in yourself.
mm,
You must grow so you can go. And
yeah.
that used to be my thing. Even when I was working, people would say, "Why would you say that to your?" I say, none of us are where we were where we first started in our careers. You grow, you build your capacity, and you go. Whether you go within the organization, you go to another organization, or you, like I did, decided I want to go into private practice
Yeah.
and just go.
Hmm.
So you invest in your people and yourself and continue to build your capacity.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes all the sense in the
Yeah,
world.
and stay abreast of best practices in your field.
What would you say about the grant side of things? I know that grant management is a key service of Till Hall Enterprise.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone kind of new to the world of uh, grants and seeking funding in that way?
Right. Well, the one important part about grants is, first of all, with the application,
Mhm.
you have to read everything and respond to everything. Don't add anything extra and have it in that order.
Mm,
Because
okay.
that's one of the biggest things. And when I
So
work,
following directions.
you have to, because so often people write grants and they say, well, I'll just skip this piece because I don't have this piece.
Mm,
Well, there's a rubric. So look at the
mhm.
bottom and see what you're missing out on.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may think you're over explaining the question, but no, provide all the specifics. Because remember, they don't know you and your services like you do. You can't assume if you say this, they'll automatically know you also can do that. No, answer explicitly the question that's answered. And then when you're fortunate, because I'm always thinking of being the positive person and the cup is half full, not half
Right.
empty,
Right.
know you're going to get the grant. And when you do, the management.
Hmm.
Because that's one of the
That,
biggest pieces that get people as well. Look at the money along the way. If it's not going to be used for the purpose that you thought you needed it for, then ask for that adjustment with the funding instead of giving it back. So
mm,
grant management is so important. But first you
yeah.
have to put in the right pieces and address the right questions to get the grant.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good. That's good. How can data-driven practices, which I know you advocate for as well, be used specifically to address disparities and promote growth within some of our businesses and our institutions?
With data, always tell the story.
Yeah.
So look at your data. Like initially when you're getting started, if you're putting out all these, flyers, information, and everything, if you're doing all these things that you think are best practices, going to help you grow and get out there, um, examine and look at what kind of feedback are you getting.
Sure.
So if you
Is
look
it
at
working?
right, are you out there on social media doing various platforms or podcasts?
All the
Really
things.
all the things that's needed. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't assume, like with me, I had a strong educational background.
Hmm.
But what is so interesting is most of the work that I provide support on now is not even from that sector.
Okay. So there's some
Because
crossover,
right, I have
some
some.
transferable skills.
It is. And what's so
Yeah.
interesting is, and it took me to sit back, and I'm a very quick reflector. I
Okay.
reflect real quick and see what's working, what's not. And I
Yeah.
said, I didn't have a website at first. And then I said, let me at least put a website up. And then I started expanding the website.
Hmm.
And now others are contacting me saying, oh, wow, I saw you on LinkedIn. I looked at your website.
Hmm.
I see you now can do this, this, and this. You're across different, but they wouldn't know that if I just said I'm Dr. Natalie Halloran, right? We can assume
Right.
people know us because only people in the educational sector knew of my skill set.
Mm.
But now I've done trainings, like I did a big training with SB Ballard Construction Company. I did a
Wow.
leadership training on mental
Wow.
design and mental health and staff, and they gave me a shout out. And I had that on my website, and they even put it on LinkedIn. And I was
Love
like,
it.
oh my goodness, thank you. So, not in the construction field, but like I tell people, your skill set and what you know, human resources is everywhere.
Hmm.
Mental health is need to be addressed everywhere. So it's all
Everywhere.
across all genres and organizations and everything.
Wow. Congrats to you
Thank you. Thank you.
on just sort of, because a lot of times we will place unnecessary limitations
Absolutely.
on what we can do.
Right.
We say, this is who I am, this is what I've done, this is what I've always done, and therefore this is what I'll always do.
Right.
And that doesn't have to be true.
Right.
I mean, if we say it's true, then certainly it is
Right.
true. But if we say, wow, these particular skill sets are going to be advantageous across the board, across multiple industries, then there's no reason why we couldn't expand.
Right. As I say, there are leaders everywhere. There are people who are workers everywhere. You have people report you in all different genres and areas.
Yep.
And mental health is everywhere.
Mhm.
It's not just in one sector.
Yep.
Right. So we
Yep.
can address. And I think that's a mindset, like you're saying, we're talking about. You have to look at what services and support can you provide, not from your content area or like me saying just educators, but
Right.
organizations. The bank have human resource people. You know, it's like just addressing all across. Yeah.
And it's a piece too, taking the time to document
Absolutely.
all of the things that we do. That's been a kind of a buzzword for me this year. I've been
like
doing
that.
more writing this year than I've done in a very long time. And now that I've discovered stickers, I'm doing even more writing. We can talk about that offline. But the documentation, because
Absolutely.
we want to be able to look back and examine truly what our track record has been.
That's right. And I have a
You know.
notebook too in a journal. That is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
And I look back at the beginning, even last year, I'm thinking, wow, the things I was thinking then, I'm so beyond that now. But
I'm a different person now.
but I needed it to help me grow and document that because
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to look back and see this is where I was. So other new entrepreneurs coming on board, I'm sure they're
Yeah.
here as well and have the same questions. And I know the path that worked for me. I could be of a resource and support to them.
That's
Absolutely.
good stuff. I remember at one point I actually thought that doing beat documentation. I remember somebody asked me, "Oh, you don't know this and do this and that. Are you documenting what you're doing?" I said, "What do you mean I'm doing it? Like,
Yeah.
are you documenting it?" And I
Right.
think about that now. I think I probably lost 2 decades worth of documentation, but not going forward.
That's right.
We writing our stuff down.
That's right.
And we'll
Absolutely.
document it on our website too.
Absolutely.
So that when people look, they can see, what our core competencies really are. So
Absolutely.
yay for
Love
growth,
it.
right?
Absolutely.
Yay for growth. Well, we are coming to the end of our time. And I really just appreciate being able to connect with you. Looking ahead, what's one major goal for Till Hall Enterprise that you believe will further the mission around empowerment?
Keep making connections and ensuring that I'm in the space that will allow me to not even grow and build my capacity, but make an impact to individuals as well as organizations.
Yeah.
So continue to make those connections.
Staying out there.
Staying out there.
This lady is a networker.
And you have to stay abreast of what's on.
Yeah.
You have to stay abreast.
Keeping up with those trends and things like that.
Absolutely.
Is there a trend in either education or business that you believe will have a significant impact on particularly our community in the next 5 to 10 years? I think there's an obvious one. I'll see if you're gonna say it though.
I think we're starting to not have that crab mentality. I think holding each other down. We're making sure we're connecting and networking and sharing resources and support.
Okay.
And I think that's the biggest thing because I used to tell people things. They say, "Oh, stop telling." I said, "What's the secret?"
Yeah. Why would I withhold that?
There's enough work and support for all of us, and we can all grow together.
Yeah.
I may get a contract and might say, "I can't do that part."
Right.
But I know Blair at Black Brand can do that part.
She can come in and supplement.
That's it. So that's the one big thing. I think that's my
glad
biggest
to know
need.
that you're seeing that.
Absolutely.
Because I don't
I'm
always
really
know that I'm seeing that. I know I do a lot of work to try to cultivate that.
Absolutely.
So that's good.
Yeah. And I see it a lot in organizations. I'm ensuring that I connect with organizations as well. So I
love it.
through those organizations as well, I'm really seeing it.
So you're directing it is what you're really saying.
Right. Directing it. And I'm part of these organizations and affiliations. And when I did a keynote for the Black women educational leaders back in June, the national conference in DC.
Okay.
And just to see all the educational leaders, the international ones, one person came over from California, and we're all connecting, sharing resources. And many of them I met in June, and we're still connected. We're saying, "Hey,
somebody that I gotta connect you to."
So that's it. We need to, And I do keynote, just to let you know. That was one of my very first ones.
Good
was that
segue.
one in DC, DC, Washington, DC, back in June for Black women educational leaders. I was the keynote there, and so it's just great. So just that connection piece, I see us doing more. Now that I've even more so been on this end as an entrepreneur than being in the public sector, I'm really seeing that. And I'm really making sure I'm in that space so I can grow as well as be an impact and a blessing to others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Was that close to what you were thinking?
No, that's well, I was thinking about artificial intelligence,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think you hit on something that is even more fundamental. And so I appreciate
Supporting
you
each other more now.
bringing that to light, because without that, none of these other trinkets and bells and whistles are going to matter. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate what you said.
Yes, thank you.
How can we connect with you, people that are listening that say, you know what, I need a Dr. Natalie Halloran in my life? How can we find you online? Where are you accessible via social media? Give us all the outlets.
Yes. Well, the one way I'm really out there is on my website. It's www.tillhallenterprise.com, which is TILLHALLENTERPRISE.com. And it will give you a quick snapshot of my areas of support. It'll show you some examples, and I have pictures of all the different keynotes and everything I've done, so you can see me in action as well.
Nice.
And also on LinkedIn, I'm Dr. Natalie Halloran, HALLORAN on LinkedIn, and I would love for you to connect and send me a meeting connection so we can go from there. And I'm available. Just if you want to chat for a little bit, I do 15-minute no-cost consultations just to kind of talk and see where you are.
Cool.
And see if I can be of support to you.
That's good stuff. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Natalie. This has been an absolute pleasure. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Black Wall Street today, where we are building minds, we're building connections, and we're forging the path ahead toward business success in the Black community. We'll talk soon.